We had two guys in the camp. We had Alfie and Josh Taylor, two guys that are, Josh is very compact. He can throw, he can throw phase upon phase. But even Luke sparring Taylor, he was able to settle him down. He wasn't, when it came to Lomachenko fight, maybe because Taylor's a bigger presence, it was hard. Luke was able to stand him up and hit him with decent shots and sort of settle him down. Whereas Lomachenko is just so small and nimble, and I think having someone like Alfie in that's also a little tiny. I mean, he's still bigger than Lomachenko, but he was shorter, and he's only had 7 fights. So he had a very amateur style in the sense that he was still being trained by his amateur coach. At the time, he was probably sparring a lot of amateur guys, and that's great. That was great for us because it was keeping Luke on it. And amateurs always they always box in phase. They're not going to lean on you. They're not going to. As soon as they're in close, they get break, step back. So they learn to be able to box in phases and keep an extremely high tempo. So bringing someone like Alfie was actually the best thing we could have ever done, because he was putting Luke under pressure, but putting him under pressure with his feet, not just sort of leaning on him and trying to walk him down, because that's not what Lomachenko does.
Everyone knew about Lomachenko, like he's the best fighter in the world, so we all knew about him. I think I was so similar with my hand speed, my footwork. Like they was calling me the English Lomachenko, like in a few boxing articles.
Alfie was a massive help. He's a really, really talented guy, and he doesn't load up with big shots. You see a lot of guys loading up with big shots, and he's a combination puncher, and he can put you under a lot of pressure with 3-4 shots, and then drop back and go again, and that was the best sparring we ever had for the Lomachenko fight.
Glad that they used me for the sparring now, because I just replicated a lot of his sort of styles, like footwork, feints, things like that. It's perfect sparring for him.
We knew he attacked in straight lines. It was trying to meet him underneath. He sort of paused that double jab out a lot. That's why we were sort of trying to step side to side, let him attack with the double jab. Chuck Luke's favourite shot was the bowling. We worked a lot on that, but we also worked a lot on keeping it in the centre of the ring. Backhand over the top. He's very patient. He stays ready, and he waits for you to throw. As soon as he throws, he tries to same time you and come over. And because he hasn't got the advantage of length, his feet, he does all the change in the range with his feet. So his feet is brilliant. But he's always very patient. Now, that's something that we were working on with Luke, is to keep him busy, but use your reach, feed him shots so he's constantly, so when your hands are out there, he's going to constantly try and attack. And if you're not trying to nail him, you're just throwing shots so he's trying to slip them. So as soon as he slips that way, just step off that way, or feed, and then you can boom, walk him into something hard off it. But it's incredibly hard to prepare for, because he changes it up every single time. Like Luke sort of showed him up, showed him down, boom, brought the hook round the side in the first, because we notice he sort of, when he steps back, he sometimes steps back like this, and he stands up tall with it, and he sort of brings his hands out in front. So Luke sort of went here, woof, round the side. Caught him within the first minute with a decent shot. He acknowledged his appreciation, but we spent 12 rounds trying to find that same shot again. And one thing is his mindset. He likes to say that's why he's the Matrix. It's like he's downloading information all the time, but he doesn't make the same mistakes again. I mean, we caught him with a fantastic body shot, I think about 7th or 8th, and because Luke, so when you're bouncing in front of me, like it's like your Loma, right? He likes to attack in straight lines. So the whole point was just stepping wide, and then meeting him with a shot. So what Luke did is he was sort of step wide, and as soon as he attacked, he threw it in that way. You understand? So he goes here, and then boom, he nailed him with that shot. But someone like Loma's natural instincts are just boom, hold, smother, and he's just fantastic at killing the clock. You know what I mean? To be able to get through, sticky situations. Move away. Now hands up, moving away. And this is another thing he does. When he moves away, he's able to be small. Like, he's a very small guy, but he makes himself incredibly small of a target. And he's got quite short arms, so it's not like he's got a gift of having these big long arms like a Winky Wright where he can block here and his body's still blocked. He sort of, he makes himself small, but he gets into this little shell. But a lot of people, when they do that, they sort of do this and they expose their body. Or they sort of do that and they stop moving their feet. But one thing he's always doing is he's always just constantly moving his feet like this. And it's very hard to pin him down and nail him, you know what I mean? So we were sort of, when he's moving like that, we're keeping tight, keep central. And when Luke was doing that, the plan was always just to be here, get him to sort of attack, and that's the attack. Hit him something clean, alright? So just sort of back him up, attack, and then nail him. Or attack underneath. But, you know, very hard to do it because he was very central. He's not in this position, he's central. So as soon as he's central, his balance is there, and his elbows are tucked in, and he's very, you know, very efficient with his movement. But it's definitely his legs. His legs are just constantly moving, constantly adjusting. I've never seen Luke be mentally tight. He's always the kind of guy that will, you know, be able to outthink guys and outlast them, and just, you know, keep that distance, keep them under pressure with that distance, so they feel, you know, a guy like at domestic level, it's very tit for tat, you know what I mean? But you see a world-class guy boxing a domestic level guy, they'll keep them under pressure and then keep dropping back or under pressure and stepping in, but they're not blocking for block. It's none of that crap. But you know, Luke, every time he spars, he'll always be able to figure guys out, and as the rounds go on, he's able to tire them out mentally, not with punches, just tire them out mentally. And then as soon as they start making mistakes, he just picks up on it, and then you know, it becomes very one-sided and easy. But Loma was like, he was doing the same as what Luke does to people, not necessarily to himself, but he switched off once or twice, because he's constantly thinking, he's constantly always underneath that, you know what I mean, that pressure, just that presence. And you just, you know, like, our whole thing was to sort of set loads of traps to sort of counter him with one shot and then spring a phase, or, you know what I mean, set shots up, one phase, drop back, nail him again. But he's doing 3-4 phases at one time, and it's weird, you know, working it in the weigh-in. I was like, this guy's tiny, but in the ring he's got this presence about him. It's almost must be the same as Canelo. They're able to box these guys that are bigger, and they use every attribute of their size. And yeah, he was very effective. But I think his feet is the most important thing that we took away from the fight, because, you know, Luke's got great legs, but, you know, he's just so lively with his legs. It was phenomenal. And you know, there's Loma, once he's on the front foot, like you saw against Campbell in those sections where he dropped him, and he can go through the gears. So the issue is that, you know, for us was to keep it as much in the centre as possible. Don't let him get going with his phases. Don't let, you know, if you're going to set traps, if you're going to throw shots, you make sure that they're not throwing them at his head. You've got to throw them a foot in front of him. So, you know, that's what Pedraza started doing. He wasn't aiming, he was just touching it right in front of him, trying to set the traps, trying to use his reach. And you know, for us, that was effective. Normally, even at the top level, you can start picking things up, and people have habits that they do. And something about Lomachenko is he never did the same thing twice. The habits that people ingrain in the gym, and you see them in the fight, but he didn't have any. For us, it was okay. Let's try moving him this way. Okay, actually, he doesn't prize himself open. Let's move him the other way. Let's step wide off the line. So Luke stepped wide off the line in that round, and then boom, bowled him. You know, because when he was stepping wide, Lomachenko thought, great, this is my moment. double attacked him. And as soon as he double attacked him, Luke chucked the bowler in, nailed him and hurt him. But then for the next round, it was okay, like try and do the same thing, try and step wide. Didn't give it away, just didn't commit. But he's still able to be just keeping that distance in and out, and keeping his concentration. And he's still picking up, and he still looks in control.
His speed, footwork, his coordination, everything about him. Just everything, all-round boxer. He's got everything.
I'm excited to see the Lopez fight because I think it's just the fact that Lopez has had everything so much his own way. Sometimes confidence is hard to beat. You know, when someone's so like up there, he's been fed these lower level fighters. He hasn't had any real tests that's really tested him into deep waters. I'm sure he's had it in sparring. And you know, I've seen he sparred the likes of Javante Babies. He sparred Luke. He's had hard spars, but on fight night he hasn't had any real tests. So he's got bundles and bundles of confidence, and I think that is a positive for him. And I hope he goes in there, and I'm a Lomachenko fan, but I hope he goes in there and tries to is able to implement something, because you need to see we need to see as fans exciting fights, but I just feel like he's going to deravel. He's going to unravel underneath the pressure, and it's just I think one of the things that's going to get to Lopez is the tempo of the fight. The fact that he loves a slow pace, he likes to be in control, he hits guys early, he gets respect, and then he can control the pace. I don't think he's going to be able to control the pace against Lomachenko because he's got a very good chin, he's defensively very sound, and he's got most boxers have 3, 4, 5 gears. He's got 20. He just keeps up and he's a tough guy to prepare for.